Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Real Estate Investor MBA.com. At Real Estate Investor MBA, we strive to provide valuable information from various experts within the business and real estate community, covering real-time market and economic information as well as curriculum-level material within various real estate investing niches. We aim to be relevant, straightforward, and forthcoming with actionable information for our community. And here's your hosts, Tejas Gosai and Jeremy Moyer. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Real Estate Investor MBA.com. If you've been following our program, you know my co-host, Jeremy Moyer, who's over there. And we try to bring guests from all over the Lehigh Valley community and surrounding. We're super vocal about how much we love the Lehigh Valley. And Juan Martinez is here. Juan, thank you.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. We got to give you a little bit of an introduction. You know, I'm a big fan. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Jeremy, would you mind introducing Juan?
Absolutely. Well, welcome, Juan. So Juan was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. He started working in the restaurant industry at the age of 10 in his native Dominican Republic. He was cleaning bathrooms and floors, cutting onions and tomatoes, selling popcorn and cotton candy until he emigrated here into the United States in 1997 at the age of 16 and searched for better opportunities. He put himself through college while working full-time and going to school full-time, and is a graduate of the prestigious Walt Disney Leadership and Hospitality College program. After graduating college, Juan focused in the banking industry where he learned very valuable business skills and got a role as a manager trainee at the age of 22 from one of the largest Fortune 500 financial institutions, the Bank of America, where he worked his way up to run the Denovo operations. Responsible in opening these branches, Juan was involved in project management, setting up business processes for each new branch, hiring talent, marketing, and growing the business. And in 2010, he decided to pursue his passion and opened State Café Grill with his wife, Melanie. And shortly after, Don Juan Mex Grill was born. Today, the Don Juan Mex Grill brand has grown into a multi-million-dollar business with locations all throughout the Northeast Pennsylvania, right also here in the Lehigh Valley. He's an active commercial and residential real estate investor and enjoys spending his free time reading, eating, and traveling with his family. Welcome, Juan, to the podcast. Can you kind of give us throw in some of the, give us some more details about, where you came from and also why here in the Lehigh Valley? How did you come to this location? And just share with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, and, growing up, America was always the dream. Coming to America, there's more opportunities here. And, like I always said, I'm always so grateful for the opportunity this country has provided me and my wife, my family. And one of the things I do, I always have the American flag everywhere. Just nice. As a reminder of, just being grateful. At all my restaurants, I have the American flag, just again, as a reminder of gratitude of everything that this country has afforded me and my family. So yeah, eventually at the age of 16, I was able to make my dream become a reality. And my family emigrated here to America, New York City. And then eventually my father got a job as a mechanic. He was a mechanic by trade here in Allentown. And that's when the entire family, he got a little apartment and we all moved in. And from there, we just being, in the community. I graduated high school here in Whitehall. I went to Lehigh Carbon Community College locally, Muhlenberg College locally, the Sells University locally. And, eventually after college, I got into the banking industry and I moved throughout the country, Philadelphia, Chicago, was a banker out there, and eventually decided the Lehigh Valley was the place to to be and grow a business. Deep down, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and on real estate. That's something that, my mother growing up, she always wanted her own home. And for some reason, because the financial circumstances, we never they never own their own home. So that always was ingrained in me. I was like, man, I'm in America now. And by the time I'm 30 years old, that was my goal. I was 16 years old. I want to have 5 properties. So, that
Nice.
that stay in me, just seeing my mom always wanted to get a piece of her own home, and, not being able to achieve that. And so like right now I'm living that dream, her dream through what I do.
Can I interrupt you real quick? So I feel like I can share this, and in the podcast I talk about how my father kind of introduced me into real estate, the immigrant mentality and things like that. And we've had a couple guests that before they talked about real estate, they talked about the mentality and things like that. And I see you, and Juan, whatever, I don't care what I say on this. Like, you built me by me watching you on Facebook. That was like something, and I read about you in the morning call, and things like that. And a lot of people talk about, hey, I want to get a property. Can you talk about like what you have to give mentally to kind of do what you've had to do?
Oh boy, it's a lot. There's a lot of mental sacrifice. There's a lot of personal and financial sacrifice, and you have to have the right mentality. You definitely have to have the right mindset, because at the beginning, I remember going back to 2004 when I first bought my first investment property. It wasn't easy. I had a boss that I was gonna buy a Jetta, Volkswagen Jetta. That was my dream car when I had my first job.
That's
and
awesome.
This person, his name is Pete Madden. Pete, what's up, man? He's like, Juan, before you buy that car, I want you to read this book, right? And he said, don't buy the car, man. Don't go to the dealership on Saturday. Read this book. And this book was Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Nice.
He gave it to me on Friday. I started Friday night. I didn't go out. I didn't go to the bar. Usually my routine was go out, hang out, go check out the chicks and all that. So I stay home, right? I read this book. I'm like 21 years old at the time. And I just devoured that book over the weekend. And I think I read it twice. I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. And I'm so grateful that this person came into my life and kind of like pull my ear and say, hey, before you put your little money into an asset that's just gonna depreciate in value right away, look at this and get ready. And instead of putting your money in a car, let's put it into real estate. And then it goes back. It hit a button, because I remember thinking about my family, my parents, being first-time immigrants and always wanting that house, right? So I committed to that. Monday I came back and I said, hey, Pete, listen, man, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to still drive my hoopty, and I'm going to more money so I could put a down payment on a house. And within 6 months, I bought my first investment property. So even though, that first house, I was still living in an apartment with my parents. I bought that house and I rented it out.
Nice.
And that was my first deal. I was 22 years old.
It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to jump in right here, because I think we touched a bit on something that's really important, one that you just said. Tejas and we're going crazy interviewing a bunch of business leaders and developers, investors here in the Valley. And we've asked, what advice would you give new real estate investors that are looking to get started? And the commonality of what we're seeing is you need to get your mind right. You need to have the mindset. And you just mentioned that. How important do you believe that is, for new investors to get the understanding of financial literacy, understanding of just broad concepts, and then to develop a strategy and execute on what they want to do.
Right. So when it comes to business and real estate investing, it's all about having the right mindset, right? Not only when it comes to educating yourself financially in the financial aspect of the transaction, but also, what sacrifices are you willing to make now? Okay. What are you going to give up? Because you have to give something up. All right. Whether it's going out on weekends, whether it's delaying that purchase of a car or that iPhone that you really want. How could you, delay gratification? That's the biggest thing, that helped me be where I am, and anybody that's new, any new investor is, hey, spend time, whether, I know it's exciting and you just want to jump in right away, but really understand the financing aspect of real estate investing. Because once you have a good grasp of it, you could look at a deal, no feelings involved, because you cannot have any feelings.
Yeah.
You're doing, it's all about the numbers, lay it down, look at the spreadsheet. Does this make sense financially? All right. Then you make your decision to move forward. And I think new investors, educate yourself, put that mindset of, it's 5-6 months. That's all I'm gonna do. Trying to understand what it takes, for a deal to make sense with the numbers. Because once you get that, sky's the limit. Once your bankers or investors know that you understand that piece, they'll feel comfortable. And deals are, there's unlimited amount of deals. It's just your time.
So I'm gonna jump in now. So I'm gonna continue with your story. So, years ago, you made your first investment decision, and then I'm just gonna try to cut some of the story. Your credit was good. You had one property. You had a good banker. They liked you. You showed cash flow, and then you got another one, or the next thing happened. Can we go to how you took over pretty much the Mexican restaurant business in the Lehigh Valley? Because that whole going from, owning a couple rental units to then doing all of that, you had to make some major jumps, and your first restaurant had to have been your hardest, in my assumption.
Right.
Now we all just know you. Like we see that you clean up the highway. I see the Don Juan on the side of 22, like all the little things that other people may not pick up on. I'm like, this guy has infiltrated the entire market. And
right.
Can you share like some of that? How did you get your pieces in place to get to that point, to the first restaurant? And then from the first to the second must have been insane.
Right. So one of the things a lot of people don't know is they see me as Juan Martinez, Don Juan Mex Grill, right? The restaurant, the guy that, owned the restaurant. But, I got to the restaurant business, because of investing in real estate. I'm an investor first. And, so while I was growing and building my professional knowledge, I was buying properties, right? And my first restaurant was actually a real estate investment. I was in Chicago, and I decided, I want to start buying more properties in the Lehigh Valley. I was doing a banking assignment, and I came across this commercial property in Easton, and that little town of Easton was similar to the town where I was living at the time in Chicago. It's a town called Lincoln Park. 20 years prior, Lincoln Park was a town that, oh my God, nobody goes there. Crime was very high. Just a lot of prostitution and drug addicts and things like that on the streets.
Yep.
Fast forward 20 years, you couldn't buy a place in Lincoln Park under $900,000, $1 million. And that was back in 2007. Okay. So I started scouting opportunities, what town in the Lehigh Valley, because I went to college here, and I knew a little bit about where can I grow the real estate portfolio, right? So I started looking into Easton, and boom, I found an opportunity to get a commercial property in Easton, and that was, the intention was to lease it out. But my wife and I decided, you know what, let's go with it, and let's open a restaurant. I grew up, working in restaurants, as a utility person, cleaning, doing whatever it needed to be done. And my wife has some waitressing experience, and that's how State Café started, and the beginning of our restaurant career back in 2010. So from there, you just, I kept building the business, utilizing my knowledge that I have gained in the banking world, talking to mentors and, just learning. And I wanted to grow this thing into something big. So it will allow us to, acquire more real estate in the process. The restaurant and the real estate goes hand in hand. The one helps the other. And, when the restaurant is down for whatever reason, the economy, it's now the real estate that carry us. And, without the real estate, I wouldn't have the restaurants.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So evaluating commercial deals today, are you looking at things differently? Are you adding additional metrics in the evaluation? Or are you just looking at it's kind of like you mentioned, like from a business plan, overall business plan structure, deal to deal? Is anything changing, or what's your secret sauce?
It's going back to looking at the whole picture, looking at the numbers. Okay, it's very simple for me. All right, it's basically putting a spreadsheet, looking at the finances, and seeing the area and say, okay, how much value can I add if I acquire this piece of property? Okay, how, these are the local rents. This is what they're currently getting. Okay, these are my taxes. These are all my expenses. How can I expand on this and make it even better and add more value to that property? So, for instance, one of my latest project, the acquisition, they were bringing $6,700 a month on gross revenues, and and within 6 months, I said, okay, how can I increase that? And what I did, I almost tripled it. I brought the rent to almost $21,000.
Wow.
6 months, and we're only 50% occupant.
Wow.
Right now. And, so when I'm looking at deals, I'm looking at,
Can you share where that property is exactly? Is it in the valley?
It's in the valley.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those commercial deals I recently made. But that's what I look for. How can I add more value? Okay. Realistically, not with my feelings, not what I feel, but facts, right? You look at the spreadsheet, you start running numbers. As a real estate investor, I think the biggest thing is get obsessed with numbers. I pull out my iPhone and, my calculator goes in right away, and I started, running scenarios, looking at different things. It's a way of living for me.
That's great. I like to
numbers.
I'd like to dive deeper into that specific deal, Juan. If we can talk in generalities, but if you can share what you bought it for, if you had to do rehab to it, what type of, was it restaurants or was it retail? Was it apartments? Just to kind of give the listener base an idea of a live deal of what you're going through right now, how you're, getting it up to the best use.
Oh, absolutely. So, it's a property, it's a heavy industrial. So mix. So you could do many things. You could have restaurants, you could have a storage, you could have retail, you could have a medical office. So the acquisition was 1.1. All right. I immediately, we put in about $200,000 to do some, quick and loan impact. Improve the facade of the property, the parking lot, improve, put new windows in, improve the electrical. And then, I immediately, once people started seeing the improvement, I was able to increase the rents to the current market rates, because they were leasing, way below market rates, because the previous owners, they didn't have the energy to make the improvements at the time. And within 6 months, I like I said, I brought the rents from $600 to $700 a month to close to $21,000 a month within 6 months. And at that point, we did a refinance to continue to improve, and the property got appraised at $3.5 million.
3.5?
3.5 million, yes, sir. Within 6 months period. And again, at that, we're only 50% occupancy of the whole potential. And it is a site that, could be developed, and that's my next move. It's 5 acres. So we're only occupying under an acre, 0.8 of the property. So I'm gonna be looking to develop into a self-storage facility, all automated. I'm excited because that's gonna take it to like the 3.5 to, you're talking about 6-7
easily
million. Once you put 300, 400 units.
Was that off market? Just
that was an off market deal. Yes.
It's beautiful.
I want to be respectful of time, but I've got to bring this up as a business owner with a family. I think we all have kids, and Juan, you have a secret weapon that many people may not know, but behind every strong man is a strong lady. But your wife is a realtor, very respected in the community. I've worked with her before. And I just want to bring up, you're not just somebody who's running around, doing real estate. You're actively, you're at that point now that you can share your knowledge and help people. Can you just talk about how you and your family, how do you do it? Because you got to see your kids, and it's difficult, and there's stressful things and unexpected things. I just wanted you to comment on some of that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. My wife, she's my partner in everything we do, and very supportive. From the very beginning, she's always been my backbone, and and like believing in everything that I believe in, and giving me her full support in everything I do. And along with her, we build what we build together, and it's a beautiful thing. Just having that support from your loved one, that just means a lot. And yeah, man, it's
and to have a loved one that also you can run your plays by and things like that. Like I do this, some people may not get it, but I have to do that with my wife. She's an objective person. She actually works at Muhlenberg in the psych department. But yeah, I think that is important for people to understand too, like your teammates, and your advisors, because you had bankers or, I don't know, financial advisors and things like that, maybe gave you an opinion or something that you might not have seen, things like that.
Right. Absolutely.
So Juan, this is the last question, and this is the worst question to ask you. We do this with everyone on the show. It's always, what's your favorite restaurant in the Lehigh Valley?
My favorite restaurant. Oh boy. I got a few that I regularly go to. I love going to see my boy Mike Pichetto over in Easton, 3rd and Ferry. Just a very hospitable, very welcoming environment. I have my favorite restaurant, State Café Grill, over in Easton. Bill, he's the owner there, and my tenant. I love it. Then what's another one that I really enjoy?
You gotta say Don Juan, right?
And of course, Don Juan. I'm here every day.
Thanks for answering that. You're the first restaurateur we've had on, so everyone else has always said something good. But yeah, Jeremy, do you have a final question? Anything to round it out?
No, not really.
Juan, do you want to share how to get a hold of you? I mean, we see your stuff in the morning call, online, everywhere. There's a lot of people coming to the community. Like if they wanted to take one of your classes or something like that, is it just the Juan Martinez Business Talks?
Yeah, JuanMartinezTalksBusiness.com. You could get a hold of me through there. We help, aspiring and experienced entrepreneurs and business owners, just to, any coaching, just to bounce ideas based on my experience and what I've done. I've seen a lot of different scenarios. I know what it's like to, be down and feeling like everything is crashing. I know what it's like to, overcome those feelings. I know what it's like to, I've been exposed to a lot of situations. So, if I could share with people, it'll be great. So that's the best way to get a hold of me.
That's what we love about you. You are very genuine and you share it. So I would like to say we want to have you back on the program one day, and we're just excited to see the next thing you do.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Cool.
That is the legendary Juan Martinez, who has been feeding the Lehigh Valley and is amazing in the real estate world. Jeremy Moyer, my co-host, and this is Real Estate Investor MBA. Check out all of our information online, and thank you, Lehigh Valley, for the support. Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys. Bye.